All right, 3 mistakes that you are making in your press, specifically in your press regarding the use of your hips. Now, we like using the hips, and this is not going to be a video that tries to convince you to use your hips when you press, but we like using the hips for a couple reasons. Number one, they involve more muscle mass in the lift. We can move more weight that way. Also, another thing that helps us move more weight is when you move the hips forward, there's a nice little counterbalancing movement of your upper body, really of your head especially, so that it clears out of the way of the bar, allows for a nice, pretty much vertical path on the bar as you're driving the bar upward. So we like using the hips, but with the use of the hips, there are more moving parts. With great power comes great responsibility. So it becomes, if you will, and you should, a little bit of an Olympic lift. So much so, in fact, that the press used to be in the Olympics. It wasn't just the snatch and clean and jerk. It used to be the clean and press, and then the snatch and the clean and jerk. So let's talk about, if you're using the hips when you press, what are the 3 mistakes that you might be making? Number one, these are going to be coming at you quick. Number one, you are reaching back with your hips. You are winding up the movement before you start. Don't do that. To start the movement, the hips never move backwards. They only move forwards. So take a breath, pause in an upright position, and then only push your hips forward. You don't know if you're doing this. You're going to have to watch this on video to see if you're reaching back with your hips. It puts unnecessary forward movement on the bar, and you don't want any type of horizontal movement that you don't have to have in the press. It's already very susceptible to bar path issues. Number 2, reaching back with your shoulders instead of throwing your hips forward. In other words, you want to push your hips forward, and with that will come a nice little natural counterbalancing movement of the shoulders moving backwards, but you don't want to try to move your shoulders backwards. If you do, your hips aren't going to go anywhere at all. And how you're going to notice this, yes, you can watch this on camera, but how you're going to notice this is where you feel your balance shift. If you are making mistake number 2, throwing your shoulders back, you are going to feel your balance shift momentarily to your heels, real briefly. It's going to cause that bar to shift significantly backwards. Your balance shifts backwards. You don't get a good throw out of the hips movement when you shift backwards to your heels. Instead, when you reach forward with your hips, you should feel your balance momentarily shift to the balls of your feet, just for a brief moment. Number 3, mistake number 3 is you're messing up on the timing of the hips movement and the start of the press. When the hips go forward, that is not when the bar starts to go up. And that mistake happens sometimes. It feels like everything's just kind of out of joint. You're not exactly sure what happened. You kind of mentally threw up a little bit and you don't know what's going on. That's what happened. You try to move your hips forward and start the pressing movement at the same time, or start the upward movement specifically. When the hips go forward, the bar needs to go down just a little bit. So remind yourself of that. To fix this problem, you can simply cue make the bar dip or make the bar go down. So those are the 3 mistakes. We hope this helps you get stronger and live better.